Well, hello everyone. I'm Beatty Cohan and welcome to the Learning Annex. And in the next 20 minutes, I promise that I'm going to teach you how to rate your mate before it's too late so that you are never going to be making another mistake in love. Sounds too good to be true? Well, just you wait. I am a psychotherapist and I am a co-author with my husband Elliot of For Better, For Worse, Forever, Discover the Path to Lasting Love. I'm also a national speaker and I have Ask Beatty columns in a variety of newspapers, and I've also been in the national radio and television world now for over 20 years. Everybody these days is so frustrated with relationships that go nowhere. People are hooking up and breaking up in record numbers, and the majority of people are saying to me all the time, you know, I always end up with the wrong person. What is going on? Well, the answers are pretty clear, at least from my perspective, that relationships fail for 4 reasons. Number 1, if we are not in a good place ourselves emotionally and psychiatrically and psychologically, we are not going to be able to have a successful relationship with anybody. So we have to be in a good place, do whatever it is we need to do so that we are going to be a terrific partner for the person who we really want to be with. So that's number 1. Number 2, again, the majority of people, whether they're rich or poor or black or white or Hispanic or educated or not, we've never learned the ingredients that go into a successful relationship. I mean, where do we learn? If we look at the Hollywood scene and the celebrity scene, I mean, the hookups and the breakups are just really over the top. So basically, if we don't know the ingredients that go into a successful relationship, we're in no position whatsoever to be able to assess who's right for you and who's wrong for you. And number 4, the majority of people are seriously lacking in emotional communication and problem-solving skills. But here's the good news. I have developed, and this is based on our book, For Better, For Worse, Forever, Discover the Path to Lasting Love, a 10-step fail-safe formula, and it's already been successfully used by thousands of people around the world. And this formula will help you assess who's right for you and who's wrong for you before you commit. Can you imagine where you're going to be in a relationship and there's no more, if only I had known? Because what our research found is that it takes close to a year using the formula to really be able to know who your partner is and who your partner isn't. And before my husband and I did the research, which culminated in our book, I would meet people and I would say, because I'm a really spontaneous person, and I'd say, I met this fabulous woman or I met this fabulous man. And since having done the research and written the book, all I can say is that I've met somebody who appears to be wonderful and terrific and sexy and smart. And the reality is that I'm really not going to know who this person is for about a year using our formula. So what is this famous formula? And you have to promise yourselves as well that you're finally going to be willing to put some rational thinking. The things that I'm going to be talking about, other than sex, these are not sexy things at all, but these are things that you really do need to know about your partner, so you're going to know who this person is and who this person is not. So we begin with family background. And by the way, you're not going to be putting your partner or your eligible date on a stand. This is not going to be a trial. But you need to get the information. So we're going to start with family background. And you might as well, ask yourselves, well, why family background? Well, the reality is that the acorn does not fall far from the tree. And if you're with somebody who's growing up in an abusive family where there was poor communication, where things were really very dysfunctional, I mean, what did this person learn about relationships? Well, they learned about abuse. They learned about alcoholism, perhaps. They certainly learned nothing probably functional about communication and problem solving. So unless this person realizes, you know what? I didn't get what I needed to learn about healthy relationships and growing up in my family. I need to go out. I need to get some counseling. I need to read some books. I need to be able to acknowledge and address and resolve all of the things that I learned that were not so functional and things that I need to learn so that I'm going to be in a position to have a healthy relationship. And that's why you do need to find out about the person's family background in depth. Number two, again, if you're not a professional, you're probably not even going to think about these things, but we call them skeletons in the closet. Skeletons in the closet meaning things like depression or anxiety or bipolar disorder. Or how do you know when your girlfriend is going to the ladies' room after meals and, you know, she does this constantly after she eats? Is she bulimic? Is she anorexic? What about the person who says to you, well, I only get drunk on weekends. Is this a problem? Yes, it's a problem, you know, and it's a problem that needs to be recognized. You need to recognize it. And I'm not suggesting that you toss people out because they have some psychiatric issues or because they may have a substance abuse problem, but what you need to know is this person willing to acknowledge and address and resolve the issues that not only get in the way of their own personal lives, but are surely going to get in the way of your relationships. What about STDs? Do you know that 25% of my patients have contracted sexually transmitted diseases? Most people tend to lie about their sexual experience. And what I'm finding, despite all the talk about STDs, about chlamydia, about genital herpes, people are still not taking care. So if I were single these days, I want you to know that I would want a written report from my partner's doctor just to make sure that I am healthy in that particular way. Otherwise, you could end up like one of my patients with a disease that is not going to be able to be cured. So again, you're not going to find out about all of these skeletons in a week or in a month, but you're going to have to really have your eyes very, very wide open and look at the clues and look at the signs and read our book and go through the formula so that you're going to be in a position where you feel empowered with information and where you also feel safe. And then we get to the area of communication. Okay, communication is not just where are we going to go for dinner or what play do we want to see here in New York or in some other part of the country. You want to know, and again, as the relationship unfolds, how well your partner is able to express emotions, love, upset, anger, disappointment. Is your partner the kind of a person who, when something gets a little dicey, will just race out, will throw a plate across the room, will work 25 hours a day instead of trying to deal with a particular issue? Because when you look at relationships that are really successful, it's not the money, it's not the big houses, it's really the communication and the problem solving that make or break relationships. So then we get into the area of problem solving, and people will say, oh, we never fight, there's never any conflict. Well, I get really concerned if people say to me that there's never any conflict, because conflict, let's face it, I mean, it's a part of life. But it's how well people are able to deal when things get off track. And effective problem solving involves discussion. You know, are you able to really have a discussion about why you're feeling so upset about what your partner said or didn't say last night? There needs to be discussion, mutual discussion. There needs to be the ability to make compromises and trade-offs. And the object of the exercise is to not win the argument or win the conflict, but to be able to come out with a win-win resolution. And all of this, unfortunately, are things that we did not grow up learning. I mean, these are skills like tennis or golf. You need to have a coach. You need to practice what you're learning, and then you have to really, the bottom line is that you have to be able to find a way to put all of this into practice.